Let's dive right in. Welcome to episode 2 of the MMG Yachts podcast. I'm Axel Stein. With me today, Mr. Enrique Calderas.
And Axel's number 2.
Enrique is a yacht broker here with us for the past 2 years.
It's only been 2 years. Feels like a lifetime.
Really?
But yeah, thanks for having me. I guess I'll give a little intro on me.
You'll be here more times, don't worry.
Oh, amazing.
Welcome to the first time.
Oh, great. I just had an amazing coffee, so I'll be back for sure. I moved to Miami 14 years ago to get my MBA at UM, and I've always had a huge love for boats and the ocean. I grew up with boats all my life. I was very lucky. And then when I moved to Miami, the capital of yachting and boat world, I obviously fell in love with the industry again. I was lucky enough that my family had a 65-foot yacht that I would run. So we didn't have a captain, so it was me. If there was any alarms, it was Enrique's alarm. And I had to deal with all the techs and everybody in the industry. And
didn't you love changing batteries?
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that your favorite part?
That's a story for another podcast. Be careful when you swap out your batteries. But anyways, I made lots of friends, which was easy when you have a yacht in Miami. And I also made a lot of acquaintances and connections in the industry as things eventually broke and needed fixing and maintenance. So I'll say I'm pretty well versed in the boat world in Miami, and lucky enough that I bumped into Axel at some point during my journey, and he invited me to be a part of this great project.
Yeah. Things been going pretty well for your first 2 years. Obviously, it's been a work in progress to get you from where you were to being now a professional yacht broker. But I mean, I think it's been pretty rewarding, right?
Oh yeah, I love it, and it's been fantastic. Everybody in the industry is super nice. And it's very fulfilling to talk to clients and understand what they're looking for. And these are clients that have been working all their lives to finally enjoy some time off or the weekends. And when you get them on that dream boat that they've dreamed about and worked for towards their whole life, it's very rewarding.
It's like their achievement trophies.
Exactly.
That's a lot of the cases. That's what it is.
Yeah, you graduated life. Here's your yacht.
Here's your yacht. Well, I brought Enrique here today to talk about our international clients, our clients that reside elsewhere in mostly Latin America, right? Whether that be the island nations or Mexico or Colombia, Chile. I mean, we've sent boats pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
I haven't sent the boat to Brazil. Their import tariffs are out of control. That's why they make their own boats. But I think everywhere else, except Bolivia, obviously, and Paraguay, they don't have ocean access. We've sent
Switzerland.
We've had I meant in Latin America. But anyways, I think you'd be a great fit because one, you've done it already a few times, and it seems that that's becoming like your niche, right, in the market.
Yeah.
The Latin American clients. Plus, you've studied all over the world already. I mean, you know what, 4 languages?
5.
5 languages.
Last time I checked, yeah.
It helps a lot when you're buying boats in Europe as well. So I guess what I wanted to do was just briefly explain how we help our international clients, because it's not the same if you live down the street and we want to go take a look at boats and we just get in the car and go take a look at certain boats. But if you live for example in Mexico, it's a completely different process, right? You're not going to have all the time in the world to just sit around and make appointments to look at boats. So the reason why people seek, I guess, a yacht consultant here in South Florida is basically because this is the biggest yacht market, I'd dare to say, in the world, right? From Palm Beach to Miami.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. If you're a client in Mexico or somewhere in Latam and you see a boat that you think you'd like or you want to make an offer on or whatever, but it's in DR, like, why would you come to Miami to talk to us if there's like a straight line relationship. But it's just like the entire yacht industry gravitates toward Miami. Like the best professionals are all in Miami. If you're a serious yacht broker that wants to work year round and like in the size markets, obviously there's mega yachts. Maybe Miami's not the capital for that, but you guys get where I'm going with this. Like, if you want the best advice and the most and the people with the most expertise that can really give you solid advice, you gotta go to Miami.
Yeah, Miami and Fort Lauderdale, I would say, has the highest concentration. I mean, in the Americas, of the best yacht brokers. Those of you that are not familiar with the process of purchasing, let's go with used boats first. We'll talk about new boat construction in another episode because that'll take, a full episode to get into.
Or two.
But essentially, from that first phone call, what we want to get out of the client, the information we need to get out of the client, what's the mission for the boat, right? That's the most important thing. Like, where are you going on this boat? Where do you plan on going? What dreams do you have in your head? How many people are you usually going to have on the boat? How many people are you going to sleep on the boat? Do you want a boat that requires crew, or do you want an owner-operator boat? And then the most important thing is budget, right? Because we all have dreams. And sometimes clients don't realize that they want a 100-foot boat, but they have $1 million budget. And when you show them $1 million 100-foot boat, they're like, what is that? I can't believe that thing's floating still. And you're like, well,
yeah.
What we need to do is get you a smaller boat that's, 20 years newer, so it doesn't look like that, right?
Yeah, that first phone call with the clients is always interesting. And what I'm trying to do is try and get a feel of who they are and what they're looking for. Like, what do they need a boat built for? What they're gonna do, right? Like, what are they? Like, sometimes they come like, oh, Enrique, I want this boat, this year, this model, this blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, let's take a step back. What are you gonna use this boat for? Like, and what are you talking about? Like, how much crew space do you need? And are you really gonna sleep on the boat? Are you not gonna sleep on the boat? So like, do you need it to be that big because of vanity, or are you gonna be using it for? Are you gonna be like justifying the size, or like what kind of trips are you gonna be running on this boats, right? And then like the budget. Like, do you care about a bigger boat but used, or a newer boat but never used, right? So it's like, what are you prefer? Like, you're gonna compromise somewhere. It's very hard that it's gonna be the perfect boat at the perfect budget with all your requirements. It's almost always never happens.
Yeah.
So it's about that. It's about like getting a feel for the client, and once you get that feel, you build this sort of profile. Okay, I think he'll like XYZ boats, and you send those couple brands and different models from those brands. Like, hey, here's 7 boats. Here's a catalog of 7 boats. What do you like in this one? What do you hate from this one? And that way you start like building a deeper profile of like what could be the perfect boat for that type of client.
Yeah, you basically start doing a process of elimination, right? Because if you go online and you just put like a size range and a budget range, you're gonna encounter maybe 200 boats at a time. So obviously a yacht broker can help you probably dish out 100 of those right away, because they're either known to be bad boats, known to maybe not resell well. Maybe it's already a company that's had a business and you won't ever get support from it again. So there's a few, things that go into the elimination process, but the input from the client, like what don't you like about this style versus this, is super important in that first stage.
And also, like one thing that I'm thinking for the client, even before they buy, it's what's this boat gonna sell for later down the line. Like, what's gonna be the resale value? Is it gonna hold? Is it not gonna hold? Is it a client that needs the boat to hold because they're on a tight budget, or is it a client that's not gonna care? Like, he can buy it used, he or she can buy it used, and it'll be fine. He can write off the depreciation, right? It's different profiles as well.
Yeah, the other profile is a client that doesn't care about the resale value. He just wants, or he or she wants exactly what they want. And hey, I like that one. It's the nicest. It does everything we need it to do. if it doesn't resell as well as that one over there, well, then so be it. And which happens. I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is like an achievement trophy. This is, you've worked hard for it, and you can't settle, right?
Yeah.
If it's possible, don't settle. So some boats resell better than others, and it's just the nature of the business.
Yeah, but then as you know, as a client starts falling in love with a couple options, and you maybe narrow it down to like 2 or 3, and you're at that point where like, okay, we went to the boat, we saw the boat.
Yeah, we would preview the boats before the client flies in from wherever they may be.
Yeah, and we get a good feel for the boat. Boat looks fine. We talk to the captain. We talk to the crew. We got the whole download on the boat and the story of the boat. It's had this many owners, or I know this factory, and like this factory's gonna build a brand new one. I'm not gonna get into the new boats too much, but it's like, okay, perfect. Like the client saw the boat as well. Client loves it. Wife, husband loves it. Whatever. It's time to make that offer. I always tell the clients, like, listen, we need to be able to make an offer, but also equally be able to walk away from the offer. Let's not fall in love with one boat.
Yeah.
Because if not, we're gonna lose all our negotiating leverage.
Yeah, and it's something that the other side senses, right? That's why a lot of people put on like a poker face when they go see a boat. Even they can be dying inside, they love it so much, and they just walk around the boat, you know, all serious and
this sucks, and this is wrong.
Yeah, oh, this is scratched here, and I mean, they're looking at an 8-year-old boat and saying comments like that. It's basically a negotiation tactic at the end of the day. But anyway, so from that first conversation, you know, sometimes in the past, we're gonna virtually show boats with videos, PDFs, whatever we have available, whatever media is available for that particular boat. Then we'll make, or the client can come. I mean, mostly they're gonna be here in Florida, right?
Ideally, the boat's in Florida, but if we gotta fly out, we're flying out.
Yeah. So the client makes one trip. Say he's here for 1, 2, 3 days, if he's tight on time. And then in that time, we already digested pretty much the whole market segment that he's in, right? So we can just dive right in and do boat 1, boat 2, boat 3, and then sit back down and say, okay, let's compare these 3 options and see which one of these would be option 1, option 2, and option 3.
Yeah, and at that point, you also start looking at, like, okay, what engines does that yacht come with? Like, is there support for that brand manufacturer back home where the client's going to be boating? Like,
yeah.
Then I don't recommend you have this engine because there's very little support, whereas this other engine's way more popular and there's way more support. So like if you're between 2 boats, that could tip the scales.
Yeah, in Latin America specifically, like you won't find as much MAN service as you would CAT service, for example.
That's a great example.
Caterpillar motors are known to be the most simple to work on. A lot of trucking companies use CATs and they can service CATs. But an MAN marine diesel, like one of those new, call it the 1900 V12, it's not that simple of a motor for anybody to work on. They're not going to have the computers. They're not going to be able to diagnose. It matters. Like we need to know where it's going so we can check your area, or where's the nearest service center or where can we fly in a tech from? Is it going to be too far? Because if it is, then it can become a problem. So we'll opt out of that boat with that power, and we'll chase another boat. So after we already got a boat. We let's just say we already negotiated a price. We're under contract. Would your client come back for inspections? Will they opt out of it? What do you recommend?
It's totally up to the client. Like we will be there. We'll hold the hands of the client if they're there the entire way. If they're not here, we're still gonna go and do as much online as possible with the client. Like, hey, here's like we're running the engines and here's the screens. If they care about, like, some clients don't even care. They're just like, Enrique, I trust you. Like if you're good with it and everything sounds good, that's fine.
Yeah. We have the technical ones.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, we'll bring the surveyors for the engines. We'll bring the boat surveyor, haul the boat out of the water, the whole 9 yards, and above that. Obviously, we have plenty of expertise here in the MMG. So like sometimes we'll catch something that a surveyor or somebody else won't catch or might forget to do.
It happens a lot, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all types of surveyors, right? So I have a list of surveyors about that long that I need to match the boat type with the surveyor.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say any names, but you're not gonna get a surveyor that's used to working on 150-foot boats to go survey a 32 center console, right?
Exactly.
Because one, he's gonna fly through it and he's not gonna look at details, and two, he's gonna charge you a lot of money, and you just don't need that type of surveyor on the boat. Like he was saying, the clients sometimes know exactly what to look for. They know, they've had boats in the past. They know, they ask you very technical questions like, hey, what was the full RPM? Was it missing some RPM? Was there any vibration? How are the temps? They'll do the water bottle test on the table. So there's a lot of things that I would say like half of the clients know.
Yeah, but then you have the other clients that go on boat and you're in the engine room. It's like, oh, what does it have two engines for? It's like, is the other engine a backup? So we really see everything here in Miami, and that's why we have so much experience and dealing with clients from all walks of life.
Yeah, the spare engine one, that was a good story.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's say, okay, surveys went well, we're off to closing. This is where we again come in and have to advise on, depending on where you or your attorney or the client's attorney decides they want to register the boat for whatever reason it may be. We can also guide you to, the right dock agency that's going to be able to do that, or the person in charge of that flag for X country, whether that be Cayman, Jamaica, Marshall Islands. And that's another very important step that everybody oversees until they get there. I've seen a million deals go by. Everybody's cool, relaxed. And then it comes time to, where do you want to register this boat? And they haven't even spoken about it.
What do you mean?
They haven't spoken about it at all. Like, since I always bring that up at the beginning, because if it's gonna be complicated, then we need to know in advance so we can get the right team. If we need to get an attorney involved, we need to get them involved before. If we need to get, so there's a lot of things we need to discuss in order for the outcome to be, as close to perfect as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about flags for a whole time. That's maybe like another podcast down the line.
Yeah, flags and class we'll leave for another day. So that's okay. We're all closed up. I guess the last step in our job is to deliver the boat, right? Or help you get the boat to where it needs to go. May that be on its own bottom with a delivery crew, with its own crew, or if it needs to go on a ship, depending on where you're going. So that's the last step to us helping the client get his boat back home and situated. And in certain cases, they'll ask us to fly after the boat's been delivered, just to get everybody settled in, especially the new crew that may not be familiar with the boat. If we're more familiar than they are, which happens a lot, we can go and do a little bit of crew training if it's necessary. And it pretty much sums up the buyer side of the business, when they're from out of state or out of the country. And I guess we can briefly go over the selling process. If you have a seller maybe the seller's here but the boat's elsewhere.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. Like, if it depends. If a client calls me because he wants to sell the boat and the boat's not stateside, or maybe it's stateside but in California or somewhere else outside of Miami or Florida, I always like, okay, what kind of boat is it, and in which market is it? Because not every market can take every boat. There's some markets can take big yachts that are cruisers, and there's some markets that are only fishing markets and so on.
Yeah.
So if it's a big motor yacht in a fishing market, that's like a big disconnect. So you can see how I'm gonna tell the client or advise the client, like, hey, listen, I think we should move the boat to another market, probably Miami, where we can list the boat at a good price and get it sold in a reasonable amount of time, as opposed to listing it for a discount in its home market, but then the boat basically is sitting there because nobody's taking a look at it for over a year. And we understand that clients want to use their boats while they're selling it, but maybe having it in Miami and flying over to Miami and using it here, it's not so bad. We have Bahamas and all that stuff, so there's a happy medium somewhere in there.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like your example in Costa Rica, you're the Azimuth client that was wondering if he should keep his boat in Los Sueños while he was trying to sell it, and we advised against it because it's not a destination you could just get in a plane and get there.
No.
It's an international flight, then like a 2 or 3 hour drive if nothing fell from the mountain onto the highway, which happens all the time there.
Dirt roads.
No, it's not dirt road. It's just that you've been there a million times. So you know from San Jose to the coast, things fall on the road all the time, and it becomes a nightmare. So the Azimuth buyer is not going to do all that just to look at your boat because there's a million Azimuths. Mm-hmm. And why not just buy one that's here? Even if it's a little bit more money, it saves me that whole hassle. Saves me freight to bring the boat back. Who am I? I have to fly surveyors out to Costa Rica. So it just becomes, you're putting a lot of barriers in front of the buyers to try and get your boat sold, and it's just really not ideal.
Yeah, and the way to overcome those barriers, either move the boat or discount it heavily so buyers are more motivated.
Yeah, so it's worth it.
Yeah, but at the same time, like the cost of moving it to like a nicer market where it can get sold quicker is less than the amount of discount you're gonna do to get clients to fly to Costa Rica or wherever the boat is at.
Absolutely. We've brought, I mean, between me and you, we've brought like 7 or 8 boats from Venezuela already. And right, it's been like 7 or 8.
I think 8.
The clients at first are always like, list it, but say it's here and see if you get action. And yeah, we're gonna get phone calls, but as soon as you say, look, the boat's in Venezuela, which is like it's not ideal, not an ideal place to go, they just lose all the interest, right?
And it gets burned quickly. Like if you're pretending that the boat's here and a couple of brokers call you and they say Venezuela, I think if 3 or 4 brokers call you, every broker in Miami knows the boat's not here anymore. So.
Yeah, a lot of people put en route to Miami, so it shows up like it's here, and you're basically wasting time doing
Everybody's
that.
Thing.
So it's better to spend, $25,000-$30,000, bring the boat here, just make it pretty, and we'll take care of selling it. When is the best time to do that? I'd say from October to May is the biggest window for all yacht transactions here in South Florida.
Yeah, it's the best time to be in South Florida too. So if you're thinking about coming to buy a yacht, come visit us.
Yeah, between Q4 and Q1 is when the majority of this business actually happens.
I mean, a lot of clients are writing off taxes. They're trying to make sure that their income or their cash flow matches properly. So they're looking at maybe tax write-offs in Q4.
Yeah, or they want to open a legit charter company.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, It just depends what your situation is. What else can we say about that? I think once we decide with the client, okay, we're either going to bring it or not. We already went by that. We have to do a market analysis on the boat, see where we're going to price it, right? The most important thing in the world.
Show me the number.
Yeah. Sellers are always, of course, saying their boats are the best because they own them and their boat is worth the most out of all the comps. But that's fine if you don't care about time on market, right? If you're going to list 10% above the next guy, the other boat's going to sell first, even if it's not quite as nice as yours, because not everybody has such a trained eye. And they're just sensitive. It's
going to get more calls, it's going to get more inbounds, and it's going to get a lot more traction. And for sure, I think listing a severely overpriced boat is doing everybody a disservice because it's going to burn that boat. It's going to bring only lowball offers. Mm-hmm. Not going to be any serious mid offers. So I think it's just, at the end of the day, you're hurting yourself. But that can be, pricing can be another topic for another day. The one other thing we do is if we get the listing, we'll fly over wherever the boat's at and get the marketing team out there and take some cool shots, make sure that everything's sitting pretty, that the boat's in great condition to be sold, right? We're presenting showroom, ready for a Miami boat show or whatever type of deal.
Yeah.
And get all that content, all the media out so we can properly advertise it.
And if it's not, in its prettiest state, we can always advise on how to be efficient in fixing it up, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to you don't want somebody to tell you, oh, you have to paint the whole boat if you want to sell it, because that's probably not their idea to spend $200,000-$300,000 painting. But there's probably something you could do to just better the image of the boat, how it presents itself, both online and in person, because at the end of the day, they're gonna come see it in person. One thing I've noticed that actually helps about not being here is that you get more serious clients on the boat, right?
Right.
If somebody's serious enough to book a plane and get on it, or maybe they have their own plane, but get on the plane, travel internationally, get off, probably get a hotel, like go look at the boat, they're probably qualified and very, very interested in buying that boat.
They're not just bored at home.
Yeah, you're not gonna get the guy that's calling in the morning that wants to see a boat the same day and is not gonna buy a boat. But you will get that real client if he's willing to do all that to go look at it, right?
Yeah.
That happens a lot in the custom boat market, more than the production boat market. I guess another important key point in having a listing that's not local is having direct access to either the captain or the mate or somebody in the near vicinity of the boat that can quickly help you with a video call or a last minute showing, like, hey, I need to see this boat tomorrow, because sometimes we can't get there, right?
Yeah.
If it's somebody that's local, and let's say in Cabo, hey, this guy was walking the dock, saw the sign, he wants to look at the boat. Obviously, I can't get to Cabo by tomorrow morning. It's not exactly
FedEx overnight.
So in that case, it's very important that we do have a point of contact that's on the boat or near the boat pretty much every day, which is not difficult. It's mostly captains.
Didn't that happen to you last week with the showing in Bahamas when I got here? But I never come to his office. Maybe 3 times a year. I come last week. Hey Axel, what's up? We're gonna meet. I have all these new ideas. Like, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna call it. It's gonna take a long while. I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, one of our listings, a Benetti, it's in the Bahamas, right? And this broker and his clients from Europe want a video call, and they've been asking for it, but the boat, it's gone. It's on a trip, right? It's not gonna be back for another 20 days. So look, we need to do a video call because we have to make a decision whether it's that boat or a boat here in the Med. So anyways, long story short, the captain was able to help us with it. Once everybody, got off the boat, went to the beach, the boat was empty. He was able to walk us through, but it's, it happens, and it happens quite often that somebody wants a video call, especially if they're in Europe or wherever they may be.
And it's important you're bilingual, right? Because the captain didn't speak English. And
yeah, well, of course, to be able to successfully sell boats to Latin American clients, it's a must that you're perfectly bilingual. So you can help translate. Like I was translating to people that spoke English what the captain was saying. And also you can translate to your clients that speak Spanish what's actually happening throughout the deal, right?
Yes, like some sellers are American, they don't speak Spanish, and you have a client that's buying a boat that speaks Spanish, so there's a lot of disconnect or miscommunication there that you can fill in by being bilingual.
Absolutely.
And cutting through the bullshit too.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know what percentage of brokers are perfectly bilingual. There's not, up in Lauderdale, there's not a lot.
No.
Here in Miami, there's a few, but I feel like it's a must, right? And not to call anybody out, but
what are you looking at me for?
No, not you. There's a lot of people that say they know both languages, and they really just struggle. Like if you show them a contract that's in Spanish, they have no idea what it says. Like they'll never be able to. They can read it, but they can't comprehend what it says. So things like that need to, really matter when you're dealing with multi-million-dollar things, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's pretty much it for today. In the next maybe not the next, but the following episode, we're gonna talk about how we help these same international clients with new build projects.
Oh, that's a fun one. Good topic.
Yeah, whether that's here in the U.S. or in Europe, Turkey, Italy, wherever the shipyard may be, how we help them, put the right team together and make the dream happen.
It's a lot more work.
I love it though.
Yeah.
Out of yacht brokerage, I think it's the most rewarding work because it takes years, right? Especially if it's a big boat. From planning, if it's custom, it just takes so many years. That's once that boat hits the water, you're like, oh my god, it's happening.
It floats.
It floats. Unlike that boat in Argentina, remember they put it in the water and
brutal.
Lost it. But anyways, I think we're gonna check out now. Thank you all for watching. Enrique, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
And you guys will see us again. Thank you.